Welcome to the Fit Vegan Podcast, the show where we help you optimize your health, fitness, and mindset on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. My name is Maxime Sigouin. I am a former triathlete, powerlifter, bodybuilder, and basketball player, and I've been vegan for over 9 years. I'm also the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, which has helped over 500 vegans from 20 different countries to completely transform their bodies and their health. I'm excited for you to hear today's episode. Let's get into the show. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fit Vegan Podcast. So today we're going to talk about how training and nutrition is actually not the most important factor to having a successful transformation. And this is something that I tell every single one of our new members that come in, right? Listen, at the end of the day, we can build you the best workout plan and the best meal plan in the world. But if you don't stick to it, guess what? There's no magic that happens. It's not because you hold the paper or the plan in your hands that magically the weight's going to start melting off, right? You actually have to implement it. That's why one of my big philosophies when it comes to fat loss is you need to use a method that is sustainable, that you see yourself using for the rest of your life to live as. If not, then when you stop, the weight will come back on. So if we just use keto as an example, where you're basically being strongly aware of your carbohydrates, potentially to eliminating all of them, which again, a lot of studies show that it's not healthy. And yes, you can have success with keto. You can lose weight doing keto if you stick to it 100%. But guess what? Do you see yourself not eating carbs, having to make weird decisions when you go to eat at the restaurants or family gatherings? You can't have delicious sweet potatoes and mangoes and dates and all these amazing foods. Well, if you don't, then as soon as you stop keto, you put the weight back on. And a lot of people have a history of that. So the method through which you use to lose the weight is extremely important. You might hear of a new fad, a new thing that's coming out, a new pill, whatever it may be. Guess what? Do you see yourself taking that pill for the rest of your life? No. Do you see yourself worrying about carbs for the rest of your life? No. Do you see yourself training 2 or 3 hours a day for the rest of your life? Like, no, I love training and I wouldn't train 2 or 3 hours a day because there's other areas of my life that are more important to me, right? I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to be mobile. I want to have energy, but there's my relationship. There's the impact I want to have in the world. There's other things that I care about besides working out all the time and looking a specific way. So even if we build you the best training plan and meal plan in the world, which we can, if you don't stick to it, nothing will change. So what is the most important factor? It's mindset. It's what's in between your 2 ears. That's why we spend so much time on mindset with our members, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make the difference on whether you succeed or not in your transformation. That's what made the difference on whether you succeeded in losing weight in the past. It was your mindset. But the biggest thing that I see people make is they choose to not address the underlying issues that are causing them to not be compliant. So it could be lack of compliance because the method being used is unsustainable, and there's definitely something to that. But there's also a massive psychological component where people don't address why they're self-sabotaging, the limiting beliefs that they have, potential value systems that they have that are not serving the ultimate goal that they want to reach or the person that they want to become. Potentially they are attached to a certain identity that is not the one that they want to become in the future, right? Of being fitter, of being 50 pounds lighter, of having energy, of not having to rely on caffeine every single day, of being able to make the right decisions when they go to the restaurant. So it all has to do with mindset. And a lot of times what I've seen across the years of coaching people with mindset is they either come in and then it's a shock to them as to how much food they can eat. That's always one thing. It's a big one. And then if they haven't mentally prepared themselves, then they kind of struggle to stay consistent with it. So it'll either be because they have a belief system where they've tried many things in the past and they haven't succeeded. So they already have this preconceived notion in their head of like, well, I'm not going to, like, I want it to work. Of course, we all want it to work. We all want to be successful, but we just think of like, well, it didn't work last time, so it might not work this time. So we start to look for ways to fail. We start to look for ways to justify the belief that we have, because that's what we do as human. When we have a belief, we look for ways to justify it. So if you're like, well, I'm probably going to mess this up, I'm probably not going to do that great, I'll potentially fail at it, then guess what? You're going to look for ways to do that. You're going to look for ways to quit. So if ever you go on the weekend, you make the wrong decision, you go like, wow, I knew it. I knew that I would do that. Well, yeah, you attracted it for yourself. You were just looking for a way to justify as to why you couldn't do it, right? So that's a big one that I see in a lot of members. So a good way to stop that is to bring awareness to what the belief is. And that's why every single Monday we have a breakthrough mindset coaching call with me directly for 1 hour, where we just focus on identifying some of the human needs that we prioritize over others, because there's 6 primary human needs. We will identify the limiting beliefs, the self-sabotage that shows up, potentially the value system that we have as to how you rate things for life and how we make our decisions. So we work a lot on mindset. But I do see a lot of people start to find ways to justify to themselves why they can't do it because they haven't been able to do it in the past. Or another good one, that one's very common as well. People come in and they're getting amazing results, amazing transformation, right? And then they do very well for an extended period of time. Like, let's just say like 4 months, and they're like perfect for 4 months. And then at a 4-month mark, family comes and visits and stays with them. They go out at the restaurant. Maybe they miss some training. They make less than good food choice decision because their mom's cooking food for them and they want to eat it to be respectful, but it's like not the things that they should be eating, or they eat too much of it. But because they've been so perfect for so long, they got addicted to that streak of like, the weight is dropping, I'm 100% consistent, and we break that streak. Then they go like, oh, right, I just messed up 5 months or 4 months of perfect streak. Well, I want to restart. Do I want to rebuild that streak? It feels like such a big mountain to climb. We feel like we have to, like, we climbed all the way to the top of the mountain and then we fall right back down. And we're like, damn, do I have enough to step back on top of that mountain? But the mistake that they make is they try to make it in one step. They don't understand that they just get to rebuild that momentum, right? We've all had streaks. Like when you track some of your habits or things that you do every day, and then when it breaks, you just get discouraged. You're like, shit, like I missed it, right? Like now I don't feel as motivated to continue the streak, because as the streak progresses, you just get more and more excited, you get more and more motivated to keep it up. And then whenever you slip, you're like, oh, dang, like this really sucks. I remember the first time I was tracking my food on MyFitnessPal, and I think I was like 800 days in of tracking every single day. And then I missed one day because my partner at the time had, my ex-partner had cancer, and we had to do some treatments, and it was a very hectic day. And I was like, fuck, I missed a day. I broke my streak of 800. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want to track my food now. I broke a streak of 800. When am I ever going to get back to that? But the reality is, how do you get back to that? By just getting back on the wagon, right? Getting back on the train and just continuing to rebuild that momentum. So a lot of people, when they go really well for a long time and then they just have one moment they slip, they just get very discouraged, and it can take them like a week to a month to get back on track. So if you've watched my last podcast where I talked about the Fit Vegan principles that we teach our member, one of them was winning the next meal. Right, getting back on track right away, not waiting until the next Monday, until the next week, until the next month, or until the next year. Getting back on track right now. That's a big one. Another one that I see is people get amazing results, right? They start to look and get in the best shape they've ever been in their entire life. They feel awesome. They have so much energy, and they're experiencing so much happiness and success that they don't know how to deal with it. So they self-sabotage, right? And I'll use an example. I cut out caffeine a while back, and I tweaked my nutrition, everything. I had so much energy. I'm a pretty high energy person, but I had so much energy that I didn't fucking know what to do with it. Like, it was so much energy. I was like, oh my God, I just need to do shit all the time. Like, I felt so good. I felt so vibrant. And then I sabotaged it by, I was like, well, I feel so good. Okay. And then I ate some shit food and then went right back down, because when you eat processed food, it drains you back down. You don't feel as great after. But it was so interesting to see that, because I was ultimately in the place where I wanted to be. So I see that with a lot of members as well, that self-sabotage when things are going too well. We call it upper limiting in the program. So it comes from the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I recommend all my members read it. I have all my business partners read that book. Everyone that I work with around me has to read that book, because you start to have that awareness of, I'm doing so well. And then you do something that just feels intuitive to do, but you're self-sabotaging. But you don't know that you're self-sabotaging. So by having that awareness, you're like, oh, I'm about to self-sabotage. Let me not do that. So that's another big way that I see members messing up their transformation. Again, nothing to do with training and nutrition. It's purely mindset that is leading them to take those actions to sabotage with nutrition, to sabotage with training. So again, there's a lot of many different ways that the mindset can come and kind of sabotage a successful transformation. And that's why it's valuable to have a coach here to help you through that. That's why I have different coaches in my life. I have my Tony Robbins coach. So I just joined their platinum membership. So I get a platinum coach with them. And that's what we do. We have a call 3 times a month. He goes like, hey, what are you working on right now? What do you need help with? What are the things that are showing up? I'm like, hey, this is showing up. He's like, dude, that sounds like you're trying to like sabotage yourself here because you told me this last time and this is happening. I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't even see that. Like, yeah, you're right. Like I shouldn't do this because it would cause me to sabotage this, this and that. So having coaches that can provide an external perspective that have experience is extremely valuable. And that's why I have no issues paying for them, because they bring me way more than I'm paying them, because they're making me notice things that potentially would make me sabotage. So at the end of the day, a successful body recomposition has nothing to do with training and nutrition. Like those are 2 important factors to be able to shift your body. But if you don't stick to those 2 plans, guess what? Your body's not going to shift. The mindset is. And that's why I tell people, if you just get a workout plan on Google, if you just get a meal plan on Google and you set your own macros, guess what? You're not addressing the underlying issue. You might be able to kind of push off certain areas of your life so you can focus on this thing for an extended period of time. But then guess what? As soon as life happens, there's emergencies, there's last minute things that show up, you won't be equipped to deal with them. That's why it's valuable to have a coach in your corner to help you navigate these scenarios. One last thing I'll add to that. I have a lot on my chest today about this. A lot of people will be like, I will wait till I'm back from vacation or until I don't have to eat out because I have families coming into town. Well, guess what? If you're always waiting for these moments, are these moments going to happen on a recurring basis throughout your year? Like, yes, they will. So it's a lot better to be able to learn to deal with these moments than to wait for them to pass, because then you're constantly going to be waiting, because there's always something that's going to show up. There's always going to be something like a trip, a business trip, a vacation, a restaurant, a date, a family gathering. There's always stuff that is going to show up. So you have to learn to navigate these. And it's a lot better to have a coach in your corner to be able to help you navigate these than trying to figure it out on your own. I'll be honest with you. I tried for years to do everything on my own. And it wasn't until I hired coaches and mentors that my life completely changed. And that's why I'm such a big adamant of having coaches and mentors, because it's changed my life ultimately, right? I tried for over 10 years to get to where I'm at, and I couldn't. And then I got a mentor and it happened within 6 months. I was like, past 10 years, did it in 6 months. That's crazy. I could have gotten there so much faster. That's why I'm such a big proponent of having a coach. That's why I love being a coach, because I get to offer that to people. I get to speed up the results of timeline. So instead of having someone who wants to lose 30 pounds and it takes them like 10 years to actually keep the 30 pounds up, because they're going to lose it, getting back. And by the time they develop the skills and the tools and the right ways to do it, it could take them 10 years. Well, I can get them there in like 8 months, right? Of like fat loss and reverse dieting as an example. So like 10 months versus 10 years, like there's a significant difference in timeline. I can give our members the tools in the strategies and the mindset shift right away, because I've done all of them. I know all of them. To get the experience that I have to coach someone, it's not just getting a certification. I have an experience of coaching over 600 plus people. They don't teach you that when you get a certification, right? That's just a real life example. How do you coach people that are moms that are super busy, CEOs are super busy, people that have like Crohn's, celiac, PCOS, hypothyroidism, that are recovering from cancer, to have fused spine? Like, you don't learn all that stuff when you're getting a certification. It just comes from practice. And so the more experience a coach has, the more valuable he is. And so I'm gonna leave you guys with that. But ultimately, I want you to know that training and nutrition is important, but if you struggle to stick with it, then it's a mindset issue and you need to work on your mindset. So if you want help with that, we can help you with that. There's a link down below where you can book your free breakthrough mindset coaching call with me. We can have a conversation on what's needs to be unlocked for you to get to that next level. So head over to that link, book your call, and looking forward to see you in the next podcast. Ciao.